And we're live. Hello all and welcome. And I'm the Realist Philosopher. And this is the Realist Philosopher Show. La la la. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So those of you who watch my show regularly may have noticed that I've been starting it at staggered times. It hasn't been static. I've been changing the times around. This is because I've been very busy. And when I'm not working, generally I'm sleeping or doing other stuff before I sleep. I really haven't had the time to really, I haven't had the stable time that is like the exact same free time every day to have the show at the same time daily. Hopefully things will change soon and I'll be able to find a reasonably stable time to have the show Monday to Friday. No promises though. If you want to know when the show is going to be, check my channel regularly. When there's a scheduled show, there'll be a countdown timer with my little philosopher head as the avatar at the very top when you click on my channel. And there'll be a countdown timer once you click on that as to when the next show will be. I'm not going to post it that long in advance, though, because, again, I don't really know so long in advance when the next show is going to be. So every couple hours you can check if you have the free time to do so. And eventually things will calm down and I'll find a decent, stable time that it can be at. Okay, so enough about that. Got a lot of stuff going on in the news. A lot of stuff going on in the news. First of all, my BitChute channel is growing like crazy, so I want to thank everybody out there who got the message from YouTube and has went there. If you're not on BitChute already, I suggest you go there. It's a great platform. No real censorship, unless, of course, you're like hacking up kids or, murdering people on video, like certain religious groups do, whacking off heads with scimitars and such, and the videos staying up on YouTube for a month. Yeah, my videos are shadow banned. Yeah, so unless you're doing stuff like that, of course, if you're doing stuff like that, you're going to get censored, and the cops are going to be called on you, and rightly so. But generally speaking, the kind of content I make, which is just, free speech, speaking my mind, giving my opinions, you can post it there, and you can watch it there. And it's funny, I'm getting more views on BitChute than I have on YouTube. Yeah, I'm shadow banned on YouTube. Apparently their new uber-accurate algorithm is reading my words and finding them unacceptable. Unacceptable by whose standard? Meh. Cultural Marxists that are in charge, of course. So check out my BitChute channel. You'll find the link in the description. And join BitChute. I really suggest you do that because there's not going to be much content on YouTube anymore that you can watch that you'll enjoy because YouTube is pretty much purging all the interesting stuff, and all that'll be left is leftist propaganda bullshit from the mainstream media and cat videos. As fun as cat videos can be to watch, cats playing around in the toilet, cats playing around with dogs, cats and squirrels wrestling. As fun as that can sometimes be to watch, that'll be just about all there is to watch in terms of enjoyable content, unless you're a rabid leftist, of course, rabid feminist, Anita Sarkeesian lover or whatever. Otherwise, yeah. They already got rid of some of the big conservative YouTubers, and they're going to be getting rid of more. And the ones that they don't get rid of, they're too small to give a damn about, they'll just shadow ban you. Well, their algorithm will do it. All right, so, yeah, follow me on BitChute. And SoundCloud as well. I post all my episodes on SoundCloud also. All right, it's enough. Let's get to what I wanted to talk about. First, I want to briefly address the whole Laura and Southern thing. I don't want to say I told you so, but any of you who followed me for at least a couple years know I predicted this years ago. Back in like early 2017, I said this woman was nothing more than a thought. She's just an attention seeker. I said she was a chameleon. I said she was a fraud. I said she wasn't a traditional woman. I said that she was a faux conservative. I said she was not a real anti-feminist, because there really is no such thing as a female anti-feminist, and any woman that's claiming to be is just an opportunist looking to get paid, by trying to appear as if she's an ally to men. Yeah, they're also flattered that their seemingly good-looking woman is interested in being their ally. Yeah. Shows you how downtrodden men are. They're willing to fall for this woman's BS. So, yeah, turns out she was a total fraud. Not a traditionalist at all. Recently, there have been videos coming out of her in bed with a tranny dude in bed. I wonder what they were getting down to when the video wasn't running. And that she also was in a biracial relationship. I'm assuming it was with a black guy. Yeah. Well, I guess you can't blame her there when you're a non-traditional broad who's into riding the cock carousel. The big black sausage is the one you go for because, generally speaking, they got the biggest sausage. For those of you who can't figure out what I mean, I'm talking about cocks. So, yeah, I'm really not surprised. Not surprised at all. You know, she's a total fraud. Not to mention the fact she had these two gay guys working for her who robbed people blind that she was working with and working for, and even robbed her. And she was working with far-left organizations doing what, I don't know, maybe to stir up controversy, get her more attention. Yeah, she's a fraud. She's a total fraud. I'm going to talk more about this on tomorrow's show by going through Milo's post on this. Milo wrote a hell of a long story. He broke this story, and the post is humongous. So, I mean, I'm going to have to go through and cut and paste tidbits, the ones I find most interesting, because the story itself has got to be 5 or 10 pages, at least 5 to 10,000 words. Too big. It would take a whole show, and I'm not going to devote it. More, in fact. More. It would take 2 shows. I'm not going to go through all of it. But I'm going to talk more in depthly about this tomorrow. All the evidence that Milo uncovered and all the evidence against Lauren that speaks to the fact that she's not a conservative. She's never been a conservative. She's just an opportunist. She's just an opportunistic cunt. All right. So that's tomorrow. Again, I didn't have enough time today. I mean, I just discovered the story, and it's just so huge. I'm really going to have to sift through it, separate the wheat from the chaff. Anyway, first story for today. All right, so, Rachel Dolezal is back in the news. God, this broad. So for those of you who don't know who Rachel Dolezal is, this is the nutty broad that thinks she's black because, you know, it's 2019. I can be black if I think I'm black. And there she is. In that picture, not a bad-looking broad. Her hips look good. I don't see muffin top. The only problem is she's crazy. Well, you could say that most broads are crazy, and the better looking, the more crazy they're going to be. I don't know about that. She's not all that good looking, but she's not horrible. In that picture, she's got a good body. Now, I think that's an old picture. I think today she's, ballooned up, trying to pass herself off as black. So, she's tried to make her body fit the stereotypical image of the black woman, big ass and such, and she's dating and has had kids with a black guy. So, yeah, she's got the faux kinky hair. She's got the spray-on tan. Tell me, Rachel, if you were black, would you need to braid your hair like a black person, even though it's not naturally that way? And would you have to put on spray tan? If your beliefs, if your feelings, if your subjective view of yourself was able to transform you into what you believe you are, would you need the spray tan? And the kinky hair that's not really kinky? No, of course not. Of course, your subjective feelings cannot change objective reality, so you cannot change what you are, and she is a white person. I don't care what she says, but anyway, we're living in clown world now, so you can be whatever you want to be, right? I want to be a doctor. You need an 8-year degree. You need to go to college for 4 years, medical school for 4 years. No, I identify as one. Woo-hoo-hoo. You're hired. Let's go get you a job in the emergency room. Okay, that's where we're living right now. Crazy world. Yeah, honk, honk, yeah. Fucking A. So race faker Rachel Dolezal comes out as bisexual. The intersectional Olympics, of course. I am not privileged enough. I'm a Wayman, and now I identify as a black Wayman. So I get the goodies of black people, and I'm crazy too. Crazy, and crazy people are, of course, seen as a oppressed class now too. That's 3 ticks on the intersectional list. Well, I need more. I need more victimhood points. I need to score higher. So what can I do? Oh, I can come out as bi. That's 4 ticks. The only way I could score higher is if I was really black and a midget and disabled or disabled. So nuts. So, notorious race faker Rachel Dolezal has publicly announced that she's bisexual. just in time for Pride Month. Yeah, she needs more publicity so she can get another book published. This fucking lying broad. Oh, man, she scammed the welfare system out of tons of money while she had like $100,000 in the bank. This is great. She's so dumb. I'm going to write a book and get people to buy my piece of shit book talking about how I'm transracial. And I'm going to make $100,000 in royalties. Probably more. That's just what she didn't spend on goop for her hair and spray tan. And I'm going to put $100,000 in the bank while I'm receiving welfare and SNAP and cash benefits. Oh, bank accounts can be tracked. There's a paper trail. Oh my, the welfare office could find out I've got $100,000 in the bank and take me to court and press charges. Uh-oh. Yeah, which they did. Which she had to pay back like $10,000 or something. Stupid broad. This is just another race figure. She's just another faker, right? Another fraud like Lauren Southern. Opportunist. Yeah. I mean, she genuinely wants to be black. She had a bunch of black siblings when she was growing up. Her parents adopted a bunch of black kids and probably gave them more attention than they gave her. So she came to identify being black with getting more attention, getting more love and attention she didn't get from her parents, even though she was white and their child. Yeah. So there's no big surprise. It's not hard to figure out why she wants to be black. Oh, boy. So Dolozal, who infamously posed as black to become president of the NAACP's chapter in Spokane, Washington, took to Twitter on Saturday for the unexpected update on her sexuality. They cut her benefits. You got too much money from that book, so we're going to cut your benefits. Oh, I need to get more publicity so I can gin up some interest for another book. Yeah. My first kiss was with a girl when I was 18. Yeah, we have no way to know that, of course. She could just be making that up. I am bisexual. Yeah, well, we don't know that either. Make a porno. That would be a great way to make money. I would watch that. Make a porno with another broad, and then I might actually believe you. Although, they got a bunch of straight broads out there in porn doing lesbo scenes too. So that's not definitive proof either. But it'd still be interesting to watch. Be interesting to see how big her fat ass has gotten. How dedicated, how wedded are you to being a black woman? I'd like to see how her body has changed since this picture. Anyway, she announced this next to a photo of her face with a rainbow next to her face. Oh my God, yeah. Just because I have been married briefly. Oh, of course. She has to stay wedded to that tired old trope of black people. Yeah, it's tired because it's really getting tiresome. You people need to start getting married and staying together with the people that father your kids. Choose better men, ladies. 74% single mother rate in the black community. Give me a break. If I want to be black, I need to be a single mama too to be accepted as a black woman. So, that marriage didn't last long. I was briefly married to a black man, and I had children by male partners. That does not mean I'm not bi. Man, I guess, plenty of guys who married broads and then came out and left the broads. I don't believe in lesbianism to begin with. It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. All lesbians like cock. They put on strap-ons. They use dildos on each other. They use their hands to imitate cocks. If you like cocks, you're not a lesbian. I'm sorry. And they're just man-haters. Or feminism has turned them into bitter, angry cunts, fearful of men. So, they turn to women. I don't buy it. So she added this, also insisting she's not confused, almost gay, or any less monogamous or into threesomes. Do I care? This broad, she's irrelevant. It's so stupid. Why am I talking about this chick? Just because I've always been attracted to a certain vibe, and the body parts present matter less to me than the heart-soul compatibility and chemistry, she wrote, admitting she has been single and celibate for 4 years. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. With no plans to change. Maybe it's true. Has it been about that long since she came out as a nut job? Okay. Maybe nobody wants to bang her because she's nuts. I don't know. This is my little pride support post to say, press on and keep being you to the bi community. Yeah, she just wants to get in on another victimhood group. She tried the transracial bit. It's not making money anymore for her. Now she's got to try the bisexual lesbo bit. Dolozal made international headlines in 2015. Interesting that that's around the exact same time she stopped having sex. So, maybe it's true, or maybe she's full of shit. When it emerged, she had pretended to be African. Pretended? What do you mean pretended? I thought that you could be things that you weren't. Do you say the trans people are pretending to be the opposite sex? No, of course not, because that's the agenda you want to push, right? I talked about this before. You can create division with this, dividing the sexes things. That's what they want, right? But you cannot have this transracial stuff. You can't muddy the waters. They need to keep the races polarized against each other. They need to do that. If they create this muddied, blurred lines between races by pushing this transracial shit, which is essentially the same argument as transgenderism, well, then people might come to view race as a non-existent thing. Then they wouldn't view other people along racial lines, and then they wouldn't become polarized and become angry and bitter and resentful against other races. And then the global elites, the left in general, would lose one of their most powerful tools for manipulating people. Yeah. So they got to throw that in the dumper. That's got to go. You can't have the idea of transracialism coming along. You can't blur the lines between race. You can blur the line between sexes, but we can't have the idea that there's no such thing as race, or that race is so, malleable that you could just choose to be that, and thereby race doesn't have any meaning, and we lose one of the best tools we've got to create animosity between the races. We can't have the races starting to believe that there is no such thing as race. Yeah. Even though it's funny, they run around talking about how race ain't a real thing. And that's all they fucking care about, talk about. God, these people are so dumb. All right, let's move on. This broad is, I've had it. I don't want to talk about her no more. This race fake. Oh, boy. But she does cast an interesting light on the hypocrisy and the contradictions that exist among these leftist nut jobs, right? Woo, good coffee. All right, let's move on. Next story. I've talked about this before. The fraud that is global warming. Australian Prime Minister advisor says climate change is a UN-led ruse. The UN, you mean the organization that exists for the sole purpose of creating globalism, one global government? It's a UN-led ruse to establish new world order. So Tony Abbott's business advisor says global warming is a fallacy supported by United Nations to create a new authoritarian world order under its control. I've been saying this for years. This is really common knowledge among anybody that's red-pilled and who has done any research. Yeah, this no shit. You've been alive long enough. You've been hearing this shit for 40. I've been hearing this shit for 40 years. That the world's going to end. And they just continue to fearmonger and frighten every new generation that comes along and get them to give up their agency, give up their freedom for the security they think will be offered by all these solutions that these global elites offer, solutions that require them to give up ever more freedom and ever more money in the form of new taxes to fight the so-called global climate change that will wipe out the world in another 10, 12, 20 years. Yeah, I've been hearing this for decades now. Climate change is a hoax developed as part of a secret ploy by the United Nations to undermine democracies and take over the world. A top advisor to Tony Abbott, Australia's Prime Minister, has warned. Maurice Newman, let's take a look at this guy. All right, there's the guy in question. The chief business advisor to the Prime Minister said the science showing links between human activity and the warming climate was wrong, but was being used as a hook by the UN to expand its global control. Yeah, just like that myth about the 97% consensus, that was come up with by a cartoonist. Guy's a cartoonist and he made all this shit up and then the mainstream media ran with it. Feel free to Google that. 97% consensus on climate change invented by a cartoonist. This is not about facts or logic. It's about a new world order under the control of the UN, he wrote in the Australian. I guess it's a newspaper. The New World Order is opposed to capitalism and freedom and has made environmental catastrophism a household topic to achieve its objective. This gentleman, born in Ilford, England, and educated in Australia, Mr. Newman is a staunch conservative and former chairman of the Australian Stock Exchange, has long been an outspoken critic of climate change science. Yeah, it's not real science, really. CIA and other intelligence organizations linked to, global elitism has paid off, all right, through local operatives in individual countries have paid off certain scientists to push this bunk. Paid them off in various ways, not necessarily with money. Scientists love grants, okay? Various ways to pay off these people, and they did a good job pushing this bunk. He was appointed chairman of the government's Business Advisory Council by Mr. Abbott, who himself is something of a climate change skeptic and once famously described climate change as absolute crap. A comment he later recanted, just because it's not PC, but he still believes that. In his comment piece described by critics as wacko, those same critics who have been attacking Trump for 2+ years as some kind of Russian operative, pushing conspiracy theories themselves. Yeah, don't believe them. Mr. Newman said the world has been subjected to extravagance from climate catastrophists for close to 50 years. I've been hearing this shit my whole life. Don't have kids. The world's going to end. Then we're going to bring in 150 million low IQ morons and give them all these resources so they breed like rabbits. But you shouldn't have children. Whitey? Yeah. Because it just contributes so much to climate change. Meanwhile, you're bringing all these low IQ morons into some of the most advanced countries in the world that have the largest carbon footprint on the fucking planet. And what are they going to do? They're going to essentially enter into that country and use all those resources in the same ways or even in greater amounts than the locals. So if you're increasing you're increasing... artificially increasing the population of a developed country, you're just going to radically increase their carbon footprint. So if you really cared about global climate change and contributing to greenhouse gases, you would simply stop third world immigration to the West. Of course, they don't really care about that. It's just a tool, right? It's a tool to gain power. Yes. So it's a well-kept secret, but 95% of the climate models, we are told, prove the link between human CO2 emissions and catastrophic global warming have been found after nearly 2 decades of temperature status. God. What's wrong with my tongue today? To be in error, he wrote. The real agenda is concentrated political authority. Global warming is the hook. Eco-catastrophists have captured the UN and are extremely well funded. They have a hugely powerful ally in the White House. Environmental groups and scientists describe Mr. Newman as a crazy conspiracy theorist. Let's take a look at this guy. Yeah, he's a highly successful conservative businessman, and he doesn't look like a nut. I mean, granted, they say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I haven't read anything that sounds like Alex Jones babbling nonsense, okay? And a lot of what Alex Jones babbles is actually not nonsense, but, the way he presents it, he kind of looks like a nut. But this guy is not a nut, okay? Far from it. Far from it. Yeah, but of course they want to present him as a nut, right? So environmental groups say he's a crazed conspiracy theorist, and some called on him to resign. Well, sure. The fact that they're attacking him shows you he's right, okay? They protest a little too much. His anti-science, fringe views. You bottle all the scientists that are supporting your bullshit, which isn't that many, actually. Bill Nye. Bill Nye is not a scientist. I think he's got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering or some shit. He has anti-science, fringe views, fringe. Yeah, that's because you bought up all the fucking media outlets, okay? And filled them with cultural Marxists that buy this bullshit, all right? People that'll believe whatever you spoon-feed them, okay? And then they label what he says fringe because it goes against their narrative. Yeah. Fringe views are indistinguishable from those made by angry trolls on conspiracy theory forums, said the Climate Change Council. So you see, they attack you with propaganda and ad hominems. They have no arguments. He's anti-science! When they're actually the anti-science ones, right? Men can be women! but he's an anti-science guy? Okay. So, Professor Will Stephan, a climate change scientist, told the Australian Financial Review, these are bizarre comments that would be funny if they did not come from Mr. Abbott's chief business advisor. Mr. Abbott's office did not respond, but his environment minister said he did not agree with Mr. Newman's comments. Yeah, of course not. He's the environment minister, so he's a rabid leftist. His job depends upon these lies. So the article in question was written by Mr. Newman to coincide with a visit by Cristina Figueres, the UN climate change negotiator, who has urged Australia to reduce its reliance on coal. Australia. Yeah, you need to reduce your reliance on coal because that's a locally provided source of fuel. You need to get rid of that. You need to become more reliant on globalism, right? You need to become more reliant on other countries. Yeah, we can't have you relying on yourself. Oh no, self-reliance makes it more difficult for us to implement globalist agendas when, a country is self-reliant. Australia is one of the world's biggest emitters of carbon emissions per capita. So what? It's ridiculous. Anybody out there that believes in climate change is a moron, okay? You haven't done the research. You haven't studied the evidence. You're just low IQ. You're not too bright. You're ideologically polarized. You've been indoctrinated into leftism, You've been radicalized, okay? And so you're not able to think for yourself. You're not smart enough to think for yourself. It's pity. It's pity. Too bad you're the ones that are going to end up in the fucking mass graves when there's a transfer of power and these leftists gain control. Yeah. You're not going to believe how bad a socialist country is until you live in one. Until you live in one in the U.S. Yeah. And then you see what it's like. And of course, those are the people that are going to be the first to be disillusioned. And they're going to be the first to fight back, right? Because they've already proven they're activists and they want to change the world. They're the ones that are going to go. Yes, the disillusioned, useful idiots who helped the leftist scum take power, they're the first ones to end up in a mass fucking grave. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've been talking about this for years, about how, this climate change narrative is just a way to gain power. It's a common political tactic, okay? Scare the shit out of people, and then you come along as the white knight savior who's going to save them. And then you offer them all of these schemes to help avert the disaster. But of course, the majority of these schemes are designed to take away their power and their agency. Well, hell, whatever we got to do to save the world. Right, Ocasio-Cortez talk about this. Doesn't matter. It'll cost $120 trillion. It doesn't matter what the cost. Really? We're talking about saving the world here. Can you put a price tag on that? Yeah. Actually, you can put a price tag on that, you idiot. Of course, that assumes that the world is even in threat. Yeah, it's a threat, all right. It's a threat by these nut jobs, by these AOCs, okay? We're nothing more than a globalist shills, okay? Useful idiots, political whores. All right, let's move on. Oh, to one of my favorite subjects, homelessness. Boy. Oh, boy, listen to this. Oh, this is great. This is just great. A court rules that if you're homeless, sleeping in public is not a crime. Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah, homeless privilege now. Wow, that's great. I always thought that homelessness was a consequence of bad choices. I didn't think that it was something that people would want to incentivize by making it legal to just sleep wherever you want, hang out wherever you want in a public space if you're homeless. No loitering laws. Whatever happened to loitering? It's illegal to loiter, right? Not anymore. Wow. Yeah, because I want to frequent businesses that have bums and dregs shooting up heroin in front of them, taking dumps in the street. Yeah, I want to go into that business whose doorway is surrounded by these bums. I'm sure business owners in the areas that these homeless people frequent love this law. Yeah. Or should I say the taking back of a law. It's very interesting. These progressives, they remove the laws that are good, and then they impose laws that restrict your freedom. God. The Ninth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals. The Ninth Circuit again. Oh, I keep hearing about this fucking Court of Appeals. God. It's got to go, man. It's so loaded with liberal leftist shills. There's no way you're going to get anything but fucking progressive bullshit out of this court. The Ninth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals, which is loaded with almost nothing but activists who are pushing leftism. which covers 9 western U.S. states: California, Washington, Oregon, Hawaii, Alaska, Nevada, Arizona, Idaho, and Montana, has ruled that if... I love... It's not even state legislators that are remanding these laws, that are taking these laws off the books. Now you have courts deciding, oh, this is great, has ruled that if there is no room at area shelters, then members of the public must be allowed to sleep without fear of arrest or prosecution. This is great. I don't understand. I thought that, first of all, for courts, whether they be appeals courts or whatever, there had to be a complainant. And then you had to be able to prove cause, right? You had to be able to prove damages of some sort to be able to sue to get a law revoked. Now, courts are just taking it upon themselves to make these rulings without a complainant. Who can prove any kind of cause? Well, we just feel like using our position to push activism, so we're going to repeal a bunch of laws that we don't like. Isn't that the job of the legislature? Be it state or federal? No! This is crazy. This is so crazy. It's ruled that so essentially, if I'm some homeless bum, some dreg, and I can't find a place at a local shelter, and there have to be shelters, of course, because we have to continue to incentivize homelessness by giving these people's homes, which is what a fucking shelter is. They could just sleep outside? Sure, sleep outside. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because we're all a bunch of Neanderthals, right? A bunch of fucking barbarians. We want to incentivize this kind of behavior. The court in San Francisco. Oh, San Francisco. Of course. Shithole Central. The place with the poop map, where you got piles of shit everywhere, and there's an actual app that can tell you all the reported sightings of shit, so you know which areas to avoid. Great. Isn't that the city that has plague now? Yeah, where you're seeing a bunch of diseases that Americans thought were eradicated decades, if not centuries ago, popping back up. God. I haven't seen a case of this. There hasn't been a case of this since the 19th century. Well, you know, when you let people take craps in the street and you don't clean it up, you're going to see these long dead illnesses suddenly reappear. That and letting in all these third world diseased pieces of crap coming to the country who are going to sleep on the street. Well, no, they don't sleep on the street, do they? No. They get housing, right? They get all these wonderful benefits. well, yeah. This is very interesting. How many illegal aliens do you see sleeping on the street, huh? I ask you that. How many Mexicans or Latino people, whatever, do you see sleeping on the street? I don't see many. I mean, I watch these videos of homeless people in California. I don't see any Mexican people on the street. What I do see are a lot of white people. Yeah, that white privilege, man. You get to be the majority of the homeless. Here's to your privilege. I'm going to drink the white privilege, which clearly does not exist. The court in San Francisco denied full court of a lower 3-panel member decision that held that prosecuting homeless persons who had no other places to go was cruel and unusual punishment and violated the 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The initial case came from an ordinance in Boise, Idaho that bars sleeping on public property. These kinds of local ordinances have proliferated in the last decade but are now struck down in the covered states unless the U.S. Supreme Court takes up the case. So local municipalities, all their decisions to pass anti-homelessness laws have been struck down by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, great. In an interview shortly after this ruling, Eve Garrow, a homelessness policy analyst and advocate for the American Civil Liberties Union, said, "This is such an important ruling." Yeah, because we need more homeless people, of course. I mean, if there were laws everywhere that were enforced, you cannot sleep in public. There's no homeless shelters, no soup kitchens, no aid for homeless people at all. You know what would happen? There wouldn't be very many homeless people because you wouldn't be able to be homeless. You would die. Death is a wonderful incentive to get you up off your lazy motherfucking ass and go get a job. But I don't want to work. The only job I could do is Burger King. Nobody told you to spend your teen years huffing paint fumes, smoking marijuana, and drinking and not going to school. Nobody told you to do that. Well, I knew there were no consequences, that I could just go homeless. I could sleep on benches and shit. I really had no sense of urgency in my life because, I knew that the state would be there to take care of me. Well, sure. Well, then sure, that's going to incentivize homelessness. Oh, but these people don't see that. Oh, no, can't have any consequences for bad actions. Yeah, you can't punish people for eventually falling asleep. It's not the falling asleep that's punished. It's the where they fall asleep. What a dumb broad. You're an idiot. It sends a message that people have choices. What? And that we don't need to build any more supportive housing. Right. Yeah, that's good. People do have choices, and we don't need to build any more supportive housing. We need to get rid of the supporting housing we have, and we need to get rid of all the welfare programs that support homeless people, single mothers, everything. You need to de-incentivize bad behavior. Get rid of these perverse incentives. And we don't, but that way you wouldn't be able to create all these useful idiots that'll vote for you, right? And push your leftist policies. Your globalist cabal's policies. And we don't have any options. Right. That's called reality. Sure. I'm sure that the lion and the lionesses in their dens, lying out there in the sun in the Sahara, and they're panting because they're so fucking hot and waiting for it to cool off so they can go hunting. I'm sure that they would love, they would love to have some options. I'm sure they would love to have some people come along and just dump fresh meat on the ground in front of them so they wouldn't have to hunt and run around and wear themselves out. I'm sure they would love those options. Unfortunately, that would make them completely incapable within a very short period of time of taking care of themselves. It would completely de-incentivize them to taking care of themselves. And after a short period of time of getting all these free meals, they would so lose the drive to hunt that if you suddenly took those meals away, they're fucked. Or they would have to remember how to hunt again, right? Yeah. But you create this de-incentivization, all right? And you get people into this habit of not working and sponging off the system. It makes it that much more difficult for them to get back on the horse and get back to work. Yeah, but let's offer options. Why? Why are there options? From a public policy perspective, they don't make sense. They send the wrong message. They treat those who are poor as criminals. Only if they break the law. I love it. So, we're going to take the things that are crimes and make them not crimes, so the poor are not viewed as criminals. Yeah, okay. And create fear and mistrust of those experiencing homelessness. You mean all those wonderful people who are breaking into cars in San Francisco? I mean, there's like so many car break-ins, like 30, 40,000 a year. It's so crazy. Nobody wants to live in San Francisco anymore. I mean, people are literally putting signs in their cars. Please don't break into my car. There's nothing of value in it. Take a look inside. You can see for yourself. There's nothing here. Please don't break my window. That's how bad it's gotten. Cops can't do anything. They don't do anything. Now you've got cops passing laws. You've got local municipalities passing laws. You've got states pushing laws at the state level that say you can't call 911 on a black person unless you can absolutely, positively prove 100% logically, critically, objectively, in some way that they were committing a crime. And if they didn't commit a crime to our satisfaction, you will be sued. Let's de-incentivize people from calling the cops on whitey. Yeah, cops need more time to dunk their donuts, right? We're getting too many calls about black people. We got to make it illegal to call people on white, call 911 on blackie. We're just overworked. We can't do it. And we're having to shoot too many black people who are attacking us when we show up for these 911 calls. It makes us look bad. So let's just criminalize calling 911 on black people. Unless you have video footage. Unless you've got clear video footage of them breaking the law. We're going to sue you. It's crazy. Now you got to take away laws criminalizing vagrancy and loitering. Oh, well, that'll solve everything. Yeah, that won't create more homeless people. Yeah. As Patrick Sisson writes for Curbed, I don't know what that is, the Martin case will change enforcement around homelessness. If a municipality builds enough shelter spots that are truly reasonable, accessible alternatives for everyone experiencing homelessness in their jurisdiction, it wouldn't be prohibited from enforcing laws against sleeping in public. What? That's crazy. So let me get this straight. You're essentially trying to use some kind of social engineering that will make public life less comfortable for people to thereby nudge them to be more in favor of building more shelters? That's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, so we're really just passing these laws to make public life for average everyday citizens less comfortable, because they can't do anything about the homeless lying everywhere and just ruining their lives and their quality of life. as well as bringing in disease, shitting everywhere, fighting, cackling at the top of their lungs because they're mentally ill, many of these people. Yeah, ruining business for everybody, ruining the lives of everybody that lives in the areas they're congregating, and these people can't do anything about it unless they support more shelters, which will be paid for with their tax dollars. Like anything's going to change if they build more shelters, right? Yeah, I'm sure that these leftist shills, these leftist idiots, these useful idiots will reinforce laws against vagrancy. Yeah, once more shelters are built. No, they won't. No, they won't. Oh, boy, they'll just get more of your money to build more shelters and say they're so pro-homeless. Look at us. Look at how virtuous we are. Elect me. And the homeless will continue to be vagrants and loiter about and fuck up life for everybody. That's great. Ah, Lord have mercy. Yeah. But even in Boise, resistance remains despite the ruling. No. Really? Average everyday people that don't have fucking walls around their houses, who don't live in private neighborhoods in ivory towers, have a problem with this? Have a problem with homeless people sleeping on their stoops, sleeping on the sidewalk outside in front of their house? No. Sleeping in front of their business? Hanging out in front of their business, falling asleep. They have a problem with that? Really? Shocker. Today's ruling does not mean the city ordinances are unconstitutional. Then why? Wait. Then where's your justification for striking them down, Ninth Circuit Court? Where's your justification? It simply has the effect of forcing the matter to be litigated further. What? That's activism. There couldn't be any clearer evidence that they are just activists and not judges. If it's not unconstitutional and there's no complainant who can prove harm, you have no right to strike these laws down, to change laws, to make policy. Oh, God. I don't think you people out there understand just how out of control a lot of courts are in America and how they are acting to fucking influence policy in ways that is in no way, shape, or form part of their mandate. This is crazy. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's our job to nudge, to socially engineer. Therefore, the city's camping and disorderly conduct ordinances remain in effect until further clarification can be obtained from the courts. The ruling will not cause us to change our policy. So in Boise, they are fighting back against the ruling of the Ninth Circuit Court and are going to continue to enforce their policies against this court's ruling. Good. Good. I like that. Hopefully, if enough local municipalities fight back, some of them will file briefs, some of them will sue, some of them will appeal this decision by the Ninth Circuit Court, and eventually some of those cases will go to the Supreme Court where they will be decided on, and of course the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals bullshit will be overturned, but that could take years. All right, let's move on. Yet more attacks on conservatives. Yes. Listen to this. Wait a second. Pour myself another cup of Java. So, the Parkland shooter, remember that? The Parkland shooter, the Parkland shootings that produced all of those kids that we weren't allowed to criticize, even though if you're a conservative and you're a kid, you're allowed to be criticized. Leftists have no problem attacking kids who are conservatives, but if it's a leftist shill kid, no, you can't criticize them. They're just kids. You're going to traumatize them. They're so sensitive. You need to let our useful idiot shills speak. And because they're kids, they're completely immune to any kind of criticism. But your kids, shut the hell up. How are we going to kill you? We're going to brain you with a fucking brick. Yeah, you got to shut up. Perfect example was that poor Soph kid that got banned from YouTube. Just because she's not a leftist, right? Yeah. If she was a lefty, they'd have all come to her defense if conservatives were criticizing her. But she's on the right, so it's perfectly okay to attack her. Yeah. Gun-loving Parkland teens. It is automatically, you know that this article was written by a leftist, right? Who wants to smear this poor kid? Gun-loving Parkland teen loses admission to Harvard over racist text. Oh boy. So he loses. This is great. This is great. So David Hogue, the dummy, the moron, the useful idiot shill of the left, who came to the defense of gun grabbers and talked about how evil guns are, and he appeared, I don't know how many times on CSN and MSNBC talking about how guns are evil. This dopey kid who's the son of an FBI agent who runs around with a gun all day. Yeah, this idiot who wasn't even at the school. He wasn't at the school. He was at home, in bed, playing hooky, wasn't sick. He heard about it on the news, police scanner, whatever. He heard about the shooting. He rushed out, got on his little BMX bike, pedaled to the school with his video equipment, and filmed kids running out, right? And interviewed them, and tried to pretend like he was there. I was one of the victims. No, he was at home in bed, okay? This liar, this opportunist, who is trying to peddle his fame as an anti-gun victim of a mass school shooter. He's trying to spin that into a political career. Is going to Harvard himself with a 1260 SAT. I think it was a 1240 or a 1260. The average SAT score for Harvard is something like 1450. And, it's crazy. It's crazy. So he scored well, like 200 points below, what's the average? But he got in anyway. Oh, he got in anyway, right? Dummy. I believe this kid actually scored in that average zone, 1450, 1500, something like that. He scored very well on his SAT, got accepted. But now he lost. He lost his admission to Harvard over racist text from, get this, 2017. Now, I don't believe in racism. I don't believe in racism at all. I think that racism is a red herring. I think it's designed to keep certain subjects off limits. I think it's designed to stop people from discussing certain attributes of certain races on average, that may or could contribute to certain behaviors or certain outcomes that are less than ideal. It's designed to shut people up, stop discussion, okay? Stop discussion about race realism. That's all it is, okay? Nothing more. Racism doesn't actually exist. But supposedly he made some hateful comments 2 years ago when he was 16. He's a kid. Kids say stupid shit. As a kid, you're not allowed to say stupid shit anymore? Oh, God. Yes, we need social justice. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, a pro-gun Parkland school shooting survivor has lost his admission to Harvard University over recently revealed racist text. Oh, God, I still have this guy's picture up? Fuck. I'm sorry about that. I closed the window out. And then pictures sometimes stay up. All right. When I click on my text, the screen disappears. I need to remember to open it back up and close out the old pictures. All right. There we go. So, that's the kid right there. The so-called racist! Yeah. And of course we know that if you are labeled a racist, you must be a racist. Yeah. No. Oh, boy. Yes, he lost his admission over recently revealed racist remarks. See, this is how social justice works. You say anything against the established, acceptable speech, you must be punished. Okay, you must suffer some kind of consequence. Lose your job, lose admission to Harvard, something. Social justice is bullshit, okay? It implies that there's some kind of large organism called society, called a collective, whose job it is to impose punishments on people. No, we're just a bunch of individuals who happen to live in the same space, okay? Who happen to live on the same landmass, all right? Social justice is an absurd idea. You can't have social justice because we're not a collective, okay? People need to decide individually how they're going to deal with people. You cannot impose collective punishments on somebody, all right? It's absurd. It's absurd. It completely bypasses the idea of a court system, of justice, really. It's ridiculous. This is not justice. Not justice at all. Anyhow, Kyle Kajuv, it's just a way of keeping people in line, right? It's just a way of keeping people adhering to the correct, agreed-upon political narrative. And who's agreed upon this? Who indeed? Nobody can tell you. But we'll believe it and follow it and champion it anyway. Yeah, useful idiots, right? Kyle Kajuv broke with many of his classmates on gun safety laws after a February 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. And he was accepted to attend the Ivy League University after working as a conservative activist. Right, while all his useful idiot friends were busy using this tragedy to benefit, oftentimes financially, because you get appearance fees whenever you appear on one of these news outlets. And David Hogue is going to try to spin it into a career in politics. He even said that he's going to major in political sciences, communism. And that when he gets out, he's going to run for Congress. He's already said that. Well, this kid was going against the grain. He was going against the narrative. He's got balls. However, the 18-year-old Kujev, probably saying that wrong, announced Monday that admission was rescinded after texts and other derogatory comments he had made 2 years ago were reported. Great. Got a bunch of busybodies out there. A bunch of busybodies who have nothing better to do than comb through 2 years of tweets. By the way, be very careful what you post on Twitter. Be very careful. A few weeks ago, I was made aware of egregious and callous comments classmates and I made privately years ago when I was 16 years old. Privately? Where were these comments made? I mean, was it on Twitter? Because if it was on Twitter, it's not private. It doesn't say, by the way. When I was 16 years old, months before the shooting, in an attempt to be as extreme and shocking as possible. Khrushchev explained, I immediately apologized. All right, so he used some hyperbolic speech to try and make a point, and the people that want to destroy him essentially took the comments out of context and presented them at prima facie value, face value, and said, oh, look, man, he's a racist, he's evil. Yeah, the left loves to do that, by the way. The text and Skype messages show Khrushchev using racial slurs and making derogatory remarks, and classmates said they believed he was a racist. By the way, they don't tell you in this article, which is from something called Raw Story, clearly a leftist rag. They don't tell you what he said. Of course not. That would be like, doing actual journalism. We're not going to say what he said, nor are we going to give you the entire text that we took the text out of context of, but we didn't show you the text. We're just going to say he made derogatory remarks, but we're not going to give you those derogatory remarks, let alone the entire text that the derogatory remarks came from and let you make up your own mind. Oh, no, we're going to make up your mind for you. After the story broke, former peers and political opponents began contacting Harvard. Of course they did, because these people are busybody idiots living in mommy daddy's basement, and they have nothing better to do because they got degrees in gender studies. And they can't find jobs, so they're all bitter and angry at the evil system. Won't recognize the value of my feminism degree. Yeah. Began contacting Harvard, urging them to rescind Khrushchev's admittance, he complained. Harvard then sent this letter stating that Harvard reserves the right to withdraw an offer of admission, and requested a written explanation within 72 hours. Khrushchev said he tried to explain his past statements in writing and asked Harvard for a chance to defend himself in person, but the university declined and pulled his acceptance. Okay, by the way, let me explain something. Harvard is a leftist university. Do not go to Harvard. Stay out of college entirely if you can. The only people who need to be going to college are scientists, engineers, that kind of thing, lawyers, and doctors. I mean, unless you're going to be in one of these STEM fields, going to be a lawyer, going to be a doctor, going to be a scientist, going to be an engineer, don't go. It's a waste of your time, okay? A waste of your time. You'll just get confused, right? They'll blur the lines of reality. And the lines between certain different categories, they'll confuse you, they'll muddle your thoughts, and essentially turn you into a relativist who cannot come to any conclusions of any factual basis about anything. Don't go. Anyway, yeah, this poor kid. By the way, I did some research to try and find exactly what he said, and the only thing I could find was an article from Vice in the limited amount of time I had. I couldn't even find the entirety of the text message. I could only find the excerpts that were taken out of context that this Raw Story wouldn't post. Of course, Vice posted them. But again, they didn't give you the entire text. They didn't give you the entire written text. They took this stuff out of context from. So I don't know what he said. I'll do some more research and try to find the full entirety of his writing that this was taken from. But anyway, Last month, a classmate posted a video to Twitter of Khrushchev and others messaging on a Google Doc in 2017. Okay, he wrote the N-word several times. Okay, so, oh, that's so horrible, so evil, right? And calling white people crackers ain't evil? That's not bad? Saying kill all white people? It's amazing to me. How about that Asian broad that got hired by the New York Times? They found tons and tons of tweets, far worse than the things this kid said. Did she lose her job? Nah, she probably got a raise. Oh, wow, you're so woke. We didn't know you were this woke. And you've got that multicolored rainbow hair that says you're an uber feminist. And it's cut so short. You must be a lesbo, too. You're going to get a raise. Yeah. No punishment for them because their hate adheres to the accepted narrative, right? Yeah, their hate is okay. But this kid's hate, no, it's not okay. And I don't think it was hate again. He said he was trying to be provocative. That's not allowed. We can't let you be provocative. You might actually get people to think about this shit and see the contradictions inherent in the leftist narrative. We can't have that. So, and they said that in one message he said, fuck the Jews. That's not good, but I don't know what context it was in. Maybe it was in a comedic context. I don't know. I need to see the entire message. Of course, they don't give you that message. And he also said, kill the effing, you know. After the messages came to light, Khrushchev resigned from the conservative youth organization Turning Point USA and called his own comments idiotic and callous. So he apologized. Don't ever do that. You can say your comments were taken out of context and try to explain the context and don't apologize. Don't apologize to these people ever. That's like blood in the water. Bad idea. Bad idea, son. Bad idea. Now they're just going to keep coming for you because you apologizing is like you admitting you did something wrong. Instead of countering with the context that these statements were actually made within and what effect you were trying to get by being so provocative. Yeah. A detailed, reasoned explanation of why you made these comments would have served you far better than resigning from Turning Point USA or apologizing. But he's a young kid, so what does he know? Right, well, he's a young kid. These are 2-year-old tweets. He was 16. Cut him some slack. Oh, no, kids are no longer allowed to make mistakes, unless they're leftist kids, of course. You were a conservative at 16? Okay, but now you have the correct beliefs. And you adhere to the correct narrative. So we leftist shill scum, hypocrites, we'll accept that and let you into our cabal. Oh, you said some anti-left shit 2 years ago. No. We got to destroy you. Oh, boy. All right, do I have time for one more story? I do if it's about AOC. I do if it's about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This broad. Hey, AOC, I got a message for you. You're never going to be president, okay? I know you want to be prez. You're not going to be president. Not ever. You're probably going to get voted. Well, yeah, will she get voted out the next time she's up for election? Probably not, actually. She's so dumb that she really resonates with the people in her district, right? Which is something like, what, 74% Latino? Yeah, oh, boy. She's from Puerto Rico, people. She's not one of yours. The majority of these people are from South America, Mexico. You know, she's Puerto Rican American. But they connect with her, right? Because she's so dumb, and they're so dumb. So they love her, right? Yeah. She'll probably get reelected. That's the sad part. Even though people know she's just a leftist shill that was essentially hired to be an actor. Yeah, the Justice Democrats, who were her supporters and her backers, and that got her elected, they fed her all her talking points. She didn't come up with anything on her own. Whenever she tries to come up with anything on her own, she sounds like a moron. These people were essentially doing a casting call, and they found her. All right, she's the perfect puppet. They don't care. I don't care. She likes socialism. We like socialism. She likes to give us free shit. We like to get free shit. Yeah, she'll probably get reelected. All right, so anyway, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not only already demanding a pay raise. Yeah, like you didn't see that one coming. She's threatening to become corrupt if she does not receive one. Well, is that a big shocker? I need more money. Of course she does, right? Because she's a moron. right? You know, she didn't know how to handle her money. She's a woman, and women generally are not good with money. And, you know, she used to work as a bartender. What did she make? $2 an hour and tips. Now she's making $174,000 a year. She's like a kid at fucking Christmas in a fucking candy store, and she thinks she essentially has just a blank check to get all she wants. No, but it probably seems that way to her. She's probably already broke. I spent all the money I've made so far. I need a raise. Nah, you couldn't be more frugal. No, you got to push for a raise, right? Yeah, okay. Using her verified Twitter account, you know, she's got the blue check mark, of course. She's a lefty. The woman who was a bartender just a few short months ago is already complaining that her $174,000 a year salary just isn't quite enough for her. Yep, voting against cost of living increases for members of Congress may sound nice, Ocasio crazy tweeted. Woo! The writer don't like her either. But doing so only increases the pressure on us to keep dark money loopholes open. This is a woman, by the way, who has already been accused of impropriety financially. Her Sykart Chakrabarty, who's like her, main handler, shuffled over $800,000, around illegally. She's facing 5 years in jail for that, although you know that's not going to happen, right? She's a lefty. They take care of their own. So the or else in that tweet is not even hidden. Yeah, if you don't give me a raise, that just forces me to use more dark money. I bet she didn't get that talking point from Sykart Chakrabarty. Or maybe she did. He's a moron, isn't he? Breaking campaign finance laws. Ay. All these people are morally corrupt. They're morally corrupt as they push themselves as these advocates for moral superiority. They're the most corrupt people on earth. This all comes on the heels of Democrats pulling a House spending package that would have included a $4,500 a year annual pay raise for a useless, sore loser House of Representatives only interested in wasting even more taxpayer money on their anti-Trump witch hunt. Yeah, they spent like $30 million plus already on Trump. And when it was found that there was no collusion, they started grasping for straws. And then you got that Mueller coming forward. I didn't say we found evidence he was innocent. I'm just saying we found no evidence of his guilt. He conveniently forgets that you can't prove a negative. So what he just said was illogical. Logical fallacy. Since we couldn't prove a negative, he still might be guilty, even though we found no evidence of guilt. So you can still impeach Democrats. Oh, my God. You can't prove a negative, pinhead. You found no fucking evidence of guilt. So where is all of this coming from? We can't prove he didn't do it, so maybe he did it. That's like saying So no evidence of committing a crime is evidence of committing a crime, is essentially what he's saying. This guy Mueller is a moron. How did he get the job as special prosecutor? How did this fucking guy? Oh, my God. What an idiot. What a maroon. You would think a lawyer would have a better grasp of logic and reason, but no. He's totally illogical. When it comes to Trump, of course. Maybe he's more logical in other areas of his life, and he's just suffering from a massive case of Trump derangement syndrome. I have no evidence he did it, so he did it. You remember that recent press conference? We were not able to find evidence he didn't do it. But if you have no evidence he did it, why do you even believe that he did it? Wishful thinking. So stupid. These people, they have no grasp of reality. Oh, boy. So, yeah, never in my life have I made $174,000 a year, says the writer. Not even when I lived in L.A. with its insanely high cost of living. Ocasio crazy, as the writer calls her, however, claims it's too expensive to serve in Congress because they are required to maintain two separate households, one in Washington, D.C., and one in your home district. I'm confused, but didn't she know these things when she took the job? I don't get it. Didn't she know she'd have to live in two different districts, and didn't she do any research into housing costs, and didn't she know beforehand that she couldn't afford it, or wouldn't be able to afford it, or possibly couldn't afford it, but then she went ahead and did it anyway. And so we as taxpayers need to fund her bad choices. What? I knew I couldn't afford it, but I did it anyway, and now it's up to you to pay the piper, not me. Boy, I've never heard this spiel before. Never heard this spiel. Didn't hear this spiel in the prior story about the homeless people. Can't be held accountable for their bad actions. The rest of us have to pick up the bill for their bad choices. And now Ocasio-Cortez says she shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of her bad choices, her poorly thought out choices. No, you should have to bear the burden of that, financially speaking. Oh, sure. These socialists are all the same. Everybody else has to pay except them. Not me. I make the bad choices, and then I'll hold you responsible for paying for them. Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely. These people are so predictable. So, yeah, fair enough. That is a perfectly legitimate concern, and one that she should have thought of before she took the fucking job. And I am not one of those people who believe legislators should be punitive. But riddle me this. Says the writer, the average median American income is $47,060. If you're a professional, your average income is $66,820. If you hold an advanced degree, your average wage is $81,848 a year. Double any of those salaries and you still won't reach the more than generous $174,000 Ocasio pulls down in a year. Yeah, but you're not a low IQ moron like Ocasio. You're not somebody who has been working as a bartender, barista, waitress since she got out of university with her wonderful economics degree that taught her nothing about economics. So, you get that kind of salary right out the gate. You're going to become spend happy, right? And I bet she's just blown all her money. Yeah. And she's renting an apartment that's way, way above what she needs, that costs many thousands of dollars in Washington. In a luxury building, indoor swimming pool, indoor gym, roof garden. Oh, but that's not luxury. Oh, no. I'm not a luxury person. I don't even know what a garbage disposal is. Yeah, okay, honey. Whatever you say. Yeah. You're a regular person. Fuck, I've seen garbage disposals, honey. Ay. And I could hardly be called someone that's a elite or comes from a privileged background. But she has to pass herself off as an idiot because she thinks that'll make her more relatable to her low IQ constituents. If the average American can maintain a household while earning less than half of what Ocasio-Cortez does, why can't she afford two households? Very good point. Excellent point. So, she didn't hold an advanced degree. Bachelor's is not advanced. Master's, or more accurately, a doctorate, is advanced. And even those people on average only make $80,000 a year, and she makes more than double what they do, okay? But she still can't afford. She still can't afford to pay for housing in two places. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit here. If the average, So, that might have something to do with her luxury apartment complex in D.C., where even a studio apartment costs around $2,000 a month. And we know Ocasio-Cortez ain't living in a studio apartment. She's spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on rent in Washington, even though she doesn't have to. So, let me get this straight. She chooses to live in a luxury building, in a luxury apartment that costs $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. We don't know exactly, but it's more than two, okay? She's living in a one-bedroom, two-bedroom, I don't know. But the studios start at $2,000, so a one-bedroom probably starts minimum $3,000 to $3,500. So she spent at least $3,000, $3,500 a month on rent when she could live in a studio. But she made the choice to live in a larger apartment and pay more rent. Okay? And you're having money problems? Why don't you move to a smaller apartment? No! I'm entitled. I'm big time now, baby. I have millions of Twitter followers. I can't be living in a tiny little shithole in a luxury building with an indoor pool, an indoor gym, an indoor garden. Oh, God. She made the choice to rent a big luxury apartment in a luxury building. That's her choice. Oh, but you should have to pay for it. You should have to pay for her choices, right? Typical socialist. Oh boy. What's more, in her luxury building, rents range from $1,840 a month for a studio to $5,200 a month for a 3-bedroom. Jesus Christ. But the average rent in D.C. is only $1,340 for a 1-bedroom and $1,550 for a 2-bedroom. So she chose one of the more expensive buildings to live in with one of the more expensive apartments. It's her choice. She could very easily afford it. Very easily, but nah, money to live like a queen. Yeah. She's not overly full of herself. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Explain to me why a provincial rube from Westchester, who until last month had never seen a garbage disposal, has to live in a luxury apartment instead of normal housing like a normal American. That's a good point. She's trying to pass herself as the normal day, everybody, worker, advocate of the worker, advocate of the people, regular Joe, regular Rosie, the Riveter, whatever. And yet she needs to live in luxury housing. It's a very good point. Alex from the block is more like Alexandria the Peacock. And then there's the threat. Ocasio was telling us that a salary of $14,500 a month. Just to break it down monthly. She makes $14,500 a month. A month! Some people don't even make that in a year. I don't see her saying she'll take a salary cut, right? No, I'm not rich enough. I don't know, honey. You're in the 1%. You're in the top 1%, okay? You don't seem to realize the money you're making is the top 1%, okay? She don't get it. $14,500 a month is so low, it will force her and other legislators to embrace the corruption of dark money, which makes me wonder about the kind of wickedness she engaged in to protest her wages as a bartender. It creeps me out just to think about it. I'm glad she never served me a drink. Oh, boy, yeah. You'd probably get Cardi B. Wake up, all your shit would be gone. She's so entitled. She'd justify it. Poor bartender. I'm a poor bartender. I need to rob people to make a living. And people would forgive her the same way they forgave Cardi B. Haven't seen any consequences for that broad. Where's the social justice? Losing her viewers, losing her people buying her shitty music. Okay? Where's the social justice from the media? Attacking her relentlessly for raping men. Crickets. Chirp, chirp. We hear nothing. Of course not. She's a wayman. She's a useful idiot wayman. We can't attack her. No, we can't disprove our own narrative. We can't report on things that go against the grain of what we believe. Oh, no, it might wake people up to the fact that women and men are equally capable of committing evil. We can't have that. It might destroy our campaign against men. It's great. Ocasio-Cortez. She hasn't made it clear what she's living in, but it's at least a one-bedroom, so she's spending at least $3,000 a month or more. Generally speaking, when you're talking about a studio, going up from a studio to a one-bedroom, it's usually at least a 50% increase in cost. So she's probably spending $3,500 a month on rent in Washington. $3,500 you don't need to spend. How much more relatable would it make her to people? How much more authentic would she appear to everyone, regular people and fellow congressmen alike, if she rented a studio? Wow. People would be like, wow, okay, she's the real deal. Yeah, she's willing to live an austere lifestyle, right? Instead of demanding like an entitled child that she gets a raise to make up for her irresponsible spending habits. But no, I can't sacrifice anything. In fact, I need to live like a freaking queen. Yeah. And pretend I've never seen a garbage disposal before to make myself more relatable, to make up for the fact that I'm in no way, shape, or form relatable because I live in a luxury apartment and spend way more than I need to. These people are all frauds, all phonies. Yeah, I need to give her a raise. Otherwise, it encourages her to dip into dark money sources. Why don't you tell us some more truth, sweetheart? Like this isn't anything I don't already know. Nancy Pelosi's worth $100 million, even though she's making this same salary, $174,000 a year. But somehow she has $100 million. Yeah, she's not dipping in any dark money. No, give me a break. Living behind her fences, behind her walls, in her walled compound. Like we don't already know you people dip into these dark money sources, and you don't need any excuses to do so. Ocasio-Cortez is just isn't connected enough yet, all right? She's still not a big enough useful idiot. They don't know if she'll get reelected or not. Once she gets some more street cred, once she gets some more cred as a bigger useful idiot and gets reelected, right, and gets some more connections from the swamp and all those wonderful donors out there who aren't quite sure about her yet, then she'll start to make some more money. Dark money, that is. You want to give a speech, Ocasio-Cortez, for half an hour and we'll pay you $500,000? Sure, what do you want in return? Oh, nothing. But there is a bill that we think is great. Okay. And then she votes for that bill. But there was no quid pro quo. Oh, no. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for this episode. Oh, I dropped some frames. I forgot to remove that kid's picture. I got to stop forgetting to close out these pictures that are related to prior stories. Ugh. So if you like my content, please feel free to like and subscribe on YouTube. And again, follow me on BitChute, because I'm already being shadow banned on YouTube. I get more views in an hour on BitChute within an hour of posting something than I do for the entirety of a video being on YouTube for days. Okay, so BitChute is the place to be if you're posting content that's even centrist or slightly to the right, meaning logical, reasonable conclusions that are come to through the use of critical thinking and reason. Yeah, those kind of videos, shadow ban time. So if you want to continue to get my content, because Lord knows how long my channel will exist on YouTube, follow me on BitChute. You'll find the link in the description. Also, consider donating. Obviously, if I'm shadow banned, I have zero monetization on YouTube. So consider going to my website, therealistphilosopher.com/donate, and making a donation. You can donate to TippyStream using PayPal. You can donate to Subscribestar through various means. And I'm also on Patreon. There's a little button you can click for each and every donation method on this page, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. So it's very simple, very easy, very convenient. This is how you win. You support people who are doing the job I am, spreading red pills, trying to fight back against this cultural Marxism. So please support me if you can. Also, if you'd like me to talk about a specific subject, or you'd like to actually be on the show, you can email me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin, ADMIN, @therealistphilosopher.com. Also, check out my Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Instagram. You'll find all those links in the description. And again, follow me on BitChute. BitChute is an alternative to YouTube that is awesome. No censorship, based on blockchain technology, totally decentralized. No fucking advertisers that are gonna bitch and moan, or who leftists are going to bitch and moan too, and then those advertisers withdraw support from YouTube to then, nudge YouTube to remove certain content. Nothing like that on BitChute, okay? So it's a free speech platform. I suggest you go there. I have all my content there. Well, I have a lot of my content there. And I just recently connected my BitChute to my YouTube account, and it wasn't. And what that's supposed to do is upload all my content from my YouTube channel, which seems to be happening, but at a very slow rate. So new content doesn't appear at the top of my BitChute page. It's appearing further down. And the new content that's appearing that's posted from YouTube doesn't have the normal black thumbnail where I just have text. You'll actually see a picture, video, alongside the title of the video in my video library on BitChute. So anything where you see a picture of me instead of just a black thumbnail with text, that's video content that has migrated from YouTube recently. It's a very slow process, though, the migration of content from YouTube to BitChute. So who knows how long it'll take. I guess that's it. I will see you the same time tomorrow, hopefully, maybe around 7 p.m. New York City time, hopefully. We'll see. All right, guys, I'm the Realist Philosopher. I wish you a good day. I hope I've given you some red pills to think about, some stuff to think about, and I'm out.